history's echo, and a fast, engaging animation that shows glimpses of the mysteries and technologies of the past. From the depths of forgotten empires emerge innovations that defy our modern understanding. Welcome to History's Echo, where we uncover the forgotten brilliance of civilizations long past. The Lost Roman Legend and the Forbidden Gold, the Roman legions sent to the end of the world. Part 1. The March into Darkness. They marched at dawn. Not with cheers, not with triumph, but with silence. 5,000 Roman soldiers stepped onto the northern road, armor polished, shields aligned, faces hard as stone. These were not recruits, they were veterans, men who had survived deserts, rebellions, and blood-soaked battlefields. Yet this march felt different. No crowds gathered to watch them leave. No speeches were given, no victories promised. Their orders were sealed in wax and leather. Only the commanding officers were allowed to read them. And even they asked no questions. Because in Rome, questions were dangerous. Beyond the final stone road lay something Rome pretended did not exist. Endless forests, frozen marshes, and tribes who did not fear the eagle banner. Lands where the empire's laws meant nothing. This was the edge of the world. The legion crossed the last Roman fort just before nightfall. Behind them, iron gates closed slowly, deliberately. No horns sounded, no farewell banners waved. It was as if Rome itself was turning its back. These soldiers were not told how long the mission would last. They were not told when reinforcements would arrive. They were simply told to march north and obey. The air grew colder with every mile. Roads turned to mud, trees blocked the sky. The world narrowed into shadows and breath that steamed in the dark. Veterans whispered among themselves. Rome did not send legions into places like this without reason. Something was wrong. This unit had been assembled quietly from different provinces. Not friends, not brothers in arms, men chosen for loyalty, not fame. Many had families far away in Italy, wives and children they might never see again. They did not know it yet, but history had already made its decision. This march was not the beginning of a campaign. It was the beginning of an erasure. Far behind them in Rome, scribes adjusted records. Supplies were logged under false destinations. Gold reserves were quietly moved. Senate discussions were postponed, then forgotten. Officially, nothing unusual was happening. Unofficially, the empire was holding its breath. As the legion disappeared into forests older than Rome itself, the world seemed to swallow them. Their banners vanished between trees. Their footsteps faded into mud and leaf, and for the first time in centuries, Rome let an army walk into the dark without looking back. Because some missions are not designed for victory, they are designed for silence. History begins with footsteps, but sometimes it ends with them fading away. And once a legion vanishes into silence, even an empire pretends it never existed. The Forbidden Gold Rome never spoke of the forbidden gold Rome hid from history. Part 2. The Secret Cargo. Rome did not trust banks. Banks could be robbed. Ledgers could be forged. Men could betray. So when Rome needed to move its most sensitive wealth, it did something terrifyingly simple. It used soldiers. Gold was power in physical form. It paid legions, silenced enemies, bought loyalty, and ended civil wars before they began. And some gold, Rome's most dangerous gold, was never meant to be seen. This was not treasury gold. This was not public money. This was emergency gold. Funds reserved for moments when the empire itself trembled. When senators plotted, generals grew ambitious, and loyalty had to be purchased quietly. When this gold moved, it did not travel openly. There were no ceremonies, no official escorts, no public records. Instead, iron-bound chests were sealed in darkness, and a legion was assigned to guard them. The soldiers were told it was state cargo, nothing more. They were forbidden to open the chests, forbidden to ask questions, forbidden to slow the march. But soldiers noticed things. They noticed the weight. They noticed how officers guarded the wagons more closely than their own lives. They noticed that supply lists did not match what they carried. This gold did not officially exist. At the same time, strange things were happening in Rome. Large withdrawals from imperial reserves appeared, then vanished from records. Senate debates were abruptly canceled. Powerful men stopped speaking to one another. Someone was afraid. Because if this gold reached its destination, Power inside the empire would shift. Careers would end. Alliances would collapse. Rome would survive, but not everyone in it. The legion marching north was not just an escort. It was a moving vault, and a dangerous one, because the moment soldiers realized what they were carrying, everything changed. Gold does strange things to men, especially men far from home, deep in hostile lands, carrying wealth that could buy freedom for generations. Rome knew this. That's why the legion was chosen so carefully. Not heroes, not celebrated warriors, but obedient men, replaceable men, men whose disappearance could be explained or erased. As the column pushed deeper into the wilderness, the wagons never left the center of formation. Guards rotated constantly, officers slept beside the chests, and somewhere between the last Roman fort and the endless forests ahead, a terrifying truth settled in. This mission was not about conquest, it was about containment. Because once forbidden gold is set in motion, it creates only two outcomes: absolute control or total silence. And Rome was prepared for both. Empires are not built on stone alone. They are built on secrets, paid for in gold. And when that gold moves, someone must disappear with it. The night. A Roman legion vanished without a trace. Part 3. The Vanishing. The last Roman fort stood like a wound in the wilderness. Stone walls scarred by weather. A single eagle standard still flying, defiant but alone. Beyond it, there were no roads, no maps worth trusting, no reinforcements waiting. This was as far as Rome officially went. The legion passed through the gates at dusk. Officers exchanged brief glances. Orders were given in whispers. The wagons carrying the iron-bound chests were checked one final time. Then the gates closed behind them. That sound, stone on stone, was the last official record of the legion. They camped that night in a clearing surrounded by towering trees. Fires were kept low. Scouts were sent out, but none reported seeing enemy movement. It felt too quiet. Veterans knew this silence. It came before storms, before ambushes, before history changed direction. Somewhere in the dark, the forbidden gold waited in its chests, silent, heavy, patient. Morning never came the way it should have. When Roman supply runners arrived days later, the camp was gone, not destroyed. Gone, no tents, no bodies, no weapons, no signs of battle, just disturbed earth and broken branches leading north. It was as if 5,000 men had stood up and walked into the forest without resistance. Roman commanders were summoned. Scouts were sent. Messages rushed south. None returned with answers. Weeks passed. Then months, no survivors emerged. No enemy tribes claimed victory. No stolen Roman weapons appeared in markets. The legion had not been defeated. It had been erased. Theories spread quietly among officers. An ambush unlikely, no battlefield existed. A mutiny possible, but mutineers leave chaos behind. A retreat impossible, there was nowhere to retreat to. Something else had happened. Something controlled, something final. And then there was the gold. The wagons were never found. The chests never recovered. Not a single coin resurfaced, which terrified Rome more than the loss of soldiers. Because men can die, gold does not vanish, unless someone makes sure it does. By the end of the year, official correspondence stopped. Orders were issued never to speak of the legion again. Officers were reassigned, witnesses silenced. The empire moved on, but the forest did not. Because somewhere beneath those trees, something had gone terribly wrong. And Rome knew it. Armies fall in battle. Empires recover. But when an army vanishes without a sound, it means someone wanted no witnesses. How Rome erased an entire legion from history. Part 4. The Erasure. Rome reacted faster than anyone expected. Not with legions, not with vengeance, but with silence. Within weeks of the disappearance, messengers arrived in provincial capitals carrying sealed orders. Military logs were collected, supply records reviewed, campaign lists quietly revised. A legion number vanished from the rolls, not declared destroyed, not reassigned, simply removed. In Rome, scribes scratched names from wax tablets and rewrote them elsewhere. Campaign years skipped forward. Pay records ended abruptly. The official story adjusted itself like a wound closing. To the public, nothing had happened. Families waited. Mothers stood in doorways watching roads. Wives wrote letters that were never answered. Children grew older without understanding why their fathers never returned. No death notices arrived. No pensions were paid. No honors were granted because officially, there were no dead. Officers who had knowledge of the mission were reassigned. Some promoted, some retired early, some disappeared into distant provinces where questions could not follow. And one rule became absolute: no one spoke of the Legion. Rome understood something terrifying about power. You can lose battles and survive. You can lose cities and recover. But if people learn that the empire sacrifices its own, that gold matters more than soldiers, loyalty collapses. So Rome chose a cleaner weapon: oblivion. By erasing the past, Rome controlled the future. Years later, when historians searched the records, they found gaps. Missing numbers, strange inconsistencies, a legion number reused too soon, a campaign never explained, a silence where pride should have been, and beneath it all, fear. Because Rome did not erase the legion to hide failure. Rome erased it to hide the truth. Whatever happened in those forests, whatever became of that forbidden gold, could never be allowed to surface. Not then, not ever. Empires do not always kill with swords. Sometimes they kill with silence, and what is forgotten can never rise against them. The land that still hides Rome's darkest secret. Part 5. The final truth. Centuries passed. Empires rose, empires fell. Rome turned to dust, but the land did not forget. In the forests of northern Britain, farmers still uncover Roman coins far from any road. Weapons buried not in formation but in panic. Pieces of armor crushed as if abandoned in haste. And always, always too far north. Places where Rome officially never marched. Local legends speak of an army that entered the forest and never returned. Not defeated, not chased away. Simply none swallowed. Archaeologists argue quietly. Historians disagree in journals. But the evidence refuses to disappear. Gold traces have been found in riverbeds with no Roman settlements nearby. Coins melted together as if destroyed deliberately, wealth not lost in battle but hidden, scattered, erased. Which leads to the final truth. The legion was not ambushed. It was not betrayed by tribes, it was silenced. Some believe the soldiers realized what they carried, that the forbidden gold gave them power greater than orders, greater than Rome itself. Others believe Rome sent another force after them, not to rescue, not to punish, but to clean. No witnesses, no records, no gold returning to threaten the empire. The soldiers became ghosts, the gold became rumor, and Rome survived, because Rome understood a brutal lesson. An empire can survive defeat, it cannot survive truth. So the legion was sacrificed not to enemies but to stability. And that is why there are no monuments, no names carved in stone. No heroic songs, only silence. But silence has a weakness, it echoes. Every coin pulled from the soil. Every weapon found in the forest. Every unanswered question brings the legion back. Not as soldiers, but as truth. Histories echo, empires fall, scrolls burn, gold sinks into the earth. But history never truly dies. It waits. Beneath forests, beneath silence, beneath the lies powerful men tell to survive. And tonight, you heard it. This was not a legend. This was not a myth, this was history's echo,